Does anybody have any idea of, listen to her, what you think the material might be or what it's made out of? Do you have any idea what you're dealing with here yet?
Plastic.
Fiberglass.
Yeah.
Is it the fiberglass?
It's
Is it the fiberglass?
It's a polyurethane base with glass fiber reinforcement. So technically it's an FRP product, which is fiber reinforced plastics. And some people compare it to fiberglass, except for what we've done is we've developed a whole different process to make it. It doesn't smell. You don't have to worry about it. You can sand it on your kitchen table and it doesn't smell at the house. You know, all that good stuff. There's no odors to it. It's also a more porous surface, so it accepts a lot more mediums than a typical like fiberglass would. So they'll all be primed white. Everything is primed white with an alkyd primer, and you can do anything you want to it. It'll accept anything that you put on it: automotive paints, acrylics, oil bases. However, if you're doing oil bases, we don't recommend those because some people think they know how to work with oils, and they don't. So we always just recommend acrylics. Acrylics work really good on it. Go ahead.
How does it compare to like the Fish in Fremont or the J. Doe's or any of those? Is
I
it the
don't
same form?
know the Fish in Fremont or the
They were,
J. Doe's.
The J. Doe's
the
that
J.
were
Doe's.
up in,
They were
like
fiberglass.
Yeah, I presume that they were fiberglass.
the cows. I mean,
Yeah, what
is
you
your
get?
product like that?
No, ours is different than that.
Okay.
I think
So
there's
you
a
have a
round
piece
one.
of it?
Do you want
We're gonna give you, get the
Yeah.
whole round one. We have a few samples of this material. And the main difference between those types of products and our product is the manufacturing process and the environmental impact of the product. You're still getting the same, maybe even a little bit stronger with our product. But you don't get the odors, you don't get the environmental impact, and it actually accepts any type of artist materials, glues, adhesives, all paints, a lot better than a standard fiberglass piece. The manufacturing part of it's totally different because if you had done anything with the fiberglass piece, there's always we'll make a half a fish, and then they make the other half a fish. And they go and then they try to put it together and they put a seam in and then they put Bondo in it. And eventually, even as an artist, a lot of times if you want it to last, you have to plan for that thing cracking or something like that. When we make a piece, it's complete full 3D, all consistent. Our molds go together and go on a machine. And then we rotate it on the machine on 2 axes at the same time and completely cast inside that mold. All one consistent piece. We pull it off the machine, pull the mold apart, and there's a complete 3-dimensional product stand.
Are they going to be hollow or are they going to be solid?
They'll be hollow. However, the piece, the way it's designed, with the maquettes, it's going to taper out. We've actually went in and put some body to the tree. So through each branch, it looks like there's a branch there, and then it tapers out to all the edges. So it gives a more organic feel to it. And it'll be wider at the trunk, and it'll taper out to the end of the branches.
Is it, excuse me?
Yeah.
No. Is it going to be 90 where they join the verticals?
Yeah.
It's not quite, actually, all the branches will taper in or out. So there'll be, it depends on which tree we're talking about, there'll be a little bit less than 90.
Okay, so if you're going to make something that's going to come this way and fold in.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there going to be a metal armature in this, or is it just all your material?
At this time, we don't plan on a metal armature inside of it. The structural...
I mean, at least on the vertical.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. We will if we have to, but we don't feel in this one that we're going to need to.
Do you have an idea of strength that it would hold?
To be able to sit on it. I mean, it'll be pretty heavy. We won't know for sure until it's done. It'll be stronger than something made out of fiberglass, like that.
We think it's gonna be somewhere between 100 to 125 pounds
in weight.
Uh-huh.
in weight,
Mhm.
and about 6 foot tall, and then
Is the base
dimension
in it?
about 5 foot. Excuse me. The base, Deb, you
The
had a
base
question?
is still, I mean, is it any taller, though? I'm just curious.
Are you
From the
talking about
mock-up,
the
a
square
very
piece at the
bad-
bottom?
No, the other piece, the trunk.
The trunk,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, the trunk is actually a little taller than what you're seeing there. That trunk's
curious.
going down into the box a bit.
Oh, okay.
So the trunk's a little taller, and then what happens at the trunk is, which doesn't show on this model, each branch that comes down also comes out like maybe it's a
Oh,
root
like a
going
roll.
into a ground.
The
And it
foot,
spreads the base out a little
Okay.
bit, so it has stability.
And they're open, right?
And then we're talking about two
We're gonna
different
open
types
up that
of
sit.
bracket design. And we're trying to decide if we're gonna have an exposed bracket coming up from under the foot, or whether it will be with, underneath the
Mhm.
trunk and then bolted to
Just
a
a-
base, a flat, base of some kind, and then will that be bolted into a concrete footing or stand? We haven't totally decided that yet. We're in the process of artistically figuring out which will be the best way to do that.
I was wondering.
If you want to bolt something to it,
Mhm.
you want to drill through it and run a bolt all the way through,
Mhm.
is that going to be safe enough? I mean, is that something
Absolutely.
structurally that there's no
That's
problem
what I was
with?
gonna
Yeah,
ask.
no,
you.
absolutely safe, and actually better than anything else, because you'll get a clean hole.
Right, but I mean, if I want to bolt a plate theoretically to it, it's not going to.
No, absolutely, no problem.
Undermine it or anything.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
What about your industrial glues that you were talking to us about?
Yeah, if you're gonna attach stuff to, like you're talking about bolting, obviously if you're gonna attach stuff, we like to see, like we build it in our facility, a physical and an adhesive attachment. So we highly recommend structural urethane adhesives, which are used in the automotive industry a lot. And once you use that, it becomes as strong a connection as the tree itself. So if you're gonna attach something, use screws or bolts, and then also use some adhesive as well. And that's gonna get you your best results.
Would it be possible to get a list of that kind of thing so that? we're not-
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're actually, I don't even know how many companies in the state of Nebraska even use that stuff, because when we started using it, we had to import it from Europe. But now there's a few suppliers and a few different ones. 3M makes one, although we don't use it. We use this one now. U-Paul makes another one. But they're no odor or anything. They're pretty simple to work with, except for the tubes, our mixing tubes. It comes out and mixes. We use really rapid stuff because obviously to us time is money. If you're not comfortable with it, you might use a slower setting stuff so you have a little bit more time to work with it. But they make it, I think that one's probably a 5-minute, you got about 2 minutes to work with it. They make it 20 minutes, so you have plenty of time to work with it.
So Kyle, how thick is each section?
On the 6-foot tree, we're probably gonna, that hasn't been completely done yet. The model isn't done, but I'm gonna give you a range. It's probably going to go back to about 4 inches wide
Oh, okay.
at the trunk. And then it'll taper out, and it tapers out a little bit funky. Because it tapers out, and as it tapers out, as it's tapering out, it's also then tapering back to the edges.
So it's actually, the way that I've described it to people is that it actually seems like the branches have really large, shallow facets
Correct.
on them, where there's almost a facet edge running down the middle of the tree branch, and at the front, it's sort of a stone facet there too, so, which I thought was really nice in your model, because of like the way that those facets then are kind of catching light and
Correct.
stuff like that.